Kaldi here on Team Temperstorm. I want to talk to you about the 10 most overpowered cards from Alpha to the present. Now this is also taking into account cards that have been nerfed and were possibly stronger before. So you may have seen these cards, but maybe not the same version. So we're looking at the strongest version of the strongest cards here. I asked a few people to help me out. I want to give thanks to Ales, Faramir, Josian, Cypher and Greensheep for their contributions. So yeah, I guess just to get into it, the first card, number 10, we have Unleash the Hounds from, I guess, Vanilla. This would be Vanilla, yeah. Soon after the beta came out, it used to be give each beast +1 attack and charge, but now it's the current version, but for 2 mana. And this was especially strong with Starving Buzzard, which lets you draw 2 cards, or draw 1 card for each hound that came out, and it really dominated the meta, both in the aggressive and the mid-range version. People were playing Timberwolf, for example, for 3 mana, Unleash the Hounds plus, for example, Knife Juggler for 4 mana. It's strong enough as it is now for 3 mana, so having it at 2 is just went way overboard, and that's our number 10 card here. Now, number 9 is Adrenaline Rush, and a lot of you probably haven't heard about this card here. Adrenaline Rush used to be a rogue card back in Alpha. Now, it's a 1 mana card, a spell that makes you draw a card, combo, you draw 2 cards. And this made the Miracle Rogue absolutely broken. The amount of draw you could get out of this, if you had a Gadgetzan available, for example, you could draw 3 cards for 1 mana. Especially if you coin things out, drawing 2 cards for 1 mana, it's equivalent of an Arcane Intellect. So even at that, it's absolutely broken without the combos of a spell used to, for example, combo out a SI7, it'd be good just for that. So a really strong card there, and that's going to be our number 9 choice. Now, our number 8 card comes from the Alpha as well. It's Death Wish, the predecessor to Shield Slam. You spend 2 mana and you lose all your armor and gain +1 attack for each armor lost. Now, people have been talking about the idea of Shield Slamming a Wrathguard and Control Warrior if it comes out of a Sweater and winning the game with 20 plus damage, but think about how strong this would be in the current Control Warrior and how strong it was back then. Even you could just get an OTK, you would just play defensively, gain up armor, and then kill the opponent with this. You could even have 2 of these if you think about it. So a really strong card here at number 8. Number 7 is Dr. Six, the new Paladin card from the Grand Tournament. Put 1 of each secret from your deck into the battlefield. It's a 6/6 for 6 already. This card closes out games. It has decks built entirely around it. You're putting in bad cards just to supplement this deck, this card here, because of its strength. Now, if you play this on turn 5 especially, it just ends up being generally 9/8, plus you get a free Hunter's Mark in the form of Repentance, you get a Rebirth, you get a 2/1 that blocks things, you can get +1 on all your minions via Competitive Spirit. Just the core of the Secret Paladin, which is thought to be a top 3 deck right now. So a very strong card here at number 7. Now, number 6 is Battle Rage from the Alpha, and now you know about the Battle Rage now. Currently, it is draw a card for each undamaged friendly character, but this is each damaged minion, so it's both sides of the field. And in this case here, you could draw 5 cards very easily, once per game. You could have 2 of these, draw 5 cards for 2 mana. It's stronger than even it is now. Now it's considered probably the best draw mechanic in the current meta, but think about it being even stronger. That's going to be our number 6 card here. Now, number 5 is the Blood Imp, and this is from Beta and early Vanilla. Now, Blood Imp used to be Stealth, 1/1, your other minions have +1 health as an aura. And now how that works is, for example, if you use Fan of Knives, it will do 0 damage, but the Blood Imp would die. let's say you use Blizzard for example, your minions would only take 1 damage because you take the damage first and then the aura goes off, so you wouldn't actually lose 2 damage. You'd only use 1 to Blizzard, you'd only lose 3 to Flame Strike. So this just became absolutely broken. And the thing is, not that many classes had AoE in that form at that time, so simply Sue just became so strong. You had this in combination with Flame Imp, in combination with Void Walker, you could power overwhelm this minion, you could buff him up. At 1-1 he wasn't completely unplayable, so just as a 1-1 demon he was played. This really defined the meta and made Zulok a tier 1 deck. Essentially, it just became too strong. Everyone was playing mid-range Warlock, or I guess Sue, at the time, and this was a key card in that meta game. Now, number 4, we have Warsong Commander from the beta and early vanilla, or I guess even a big part of the vanilla. Now, how this used to be is your other minions would have charged. Now, this card was just nerfed a second time, taking away the charge buff already, but it used to be all your minions below 3, but in this case here, it's just every minion gets charged other than the Warsong Commander. So the combos you would do with this, would you drop the Warsong Commander, you drop a Molten Giant, drop a second Molten Giant, you'd use a Youthful Brewmaster after attacking with the Molten Giant, and play the Molten Giant again for free. If you had a second Youthful Brewmaster, you could go again. So for 7 mana, you could get, 38 damage, or you could trade into a 7/7 and then replay him and get another 8/8, and then trade him again. And how this really just went out of control, as you also had charge for 0 mana. So what people were also doing with this combo deck was you put Gorehowl up, then you basically used Alexstrasza for 9 mana, and the charge for 0 mana, which was 15 damage, and you put your opponent to 15 damage. And how Alexstrasza also used to work was that it took away all the armor on top of all the health. So if you had 10 armor and 30 health, you would go down to 15 health, no armor. So that was basically an unstoppable combination. But the Warsong Commander here, even stronger than the Grim Patron, is going to be a number 4 card. Now, number 3 is Emperor Thaurissan. Everyone must know how strong this card here is. At 5/5, it stands strong just on the body itself. But the added effect, each turn, reduce the cost of your cards in your hand by 1. The combos we see, the Patron 30 plus combos, the crazy Antonidas combos where you draw 3 or 4 fireballs, just playing things a turn earlier, even in Handlock just for the value. This ended up in every deck that had generally more than 6 or 7 cards in the hand, because the value just went out of control. On top of that, Druid with the Innovate, you could get the combo so much earlier, or double Savage Roar was easy with this combo. But let's not forget how strong it is as a 5/5, and that's basically equivalent to a lot of the other 6 drops here. So, meta-defining card, and really one of the strongest cards of all time. And now we're going to get into the top 2, where things really get crazy, and I have to mention here that it's a bit up for debate, but our number 2 card here is going to be Starving Buzzard, the first version of it. Now, it used to be, this is from really in the beta and alpha, it used to be a 2/2 beast for 2 mana. Whenever you summon a beast, draw a card. And how that used to work is you could go for a Boar for 1 mana. You could go for a Timberwolf for 1 mana. You could unleash and draw 5 cards or 4 cards. You could go Starving Buzzard, Unleash, Timberwolf, 5 mana. You get 2/1 charger for every minion on the board. You draw 3, 4, 5 cards. Basically draw the thing back. What people were doing was the mid-range hunter could use boars easily. You could just keep on drawing. You could be so much more aggressive. The average thing you were drawing with this was like 3 or 4 cards for 2 mana. On top of it being a 2/2. A 2/2 for 2 mana is not bad. It's a beast on top of that. So it worked with Timberwolf. It worked with Kill Command, Houndmaster. So just on its own, it was pretty strong. But on top of drawing 4 cards, it's like the Battler we talked about earlier, but also being a beast, also being a 2/2 minion, all just for 2 mana makes it the second strongest card of all time in our opinion here. And now for a number 1 card, the Undertaker. Whenever you summon a minion with Death Rattle, gain +1/+1. Now this is a card from Naxxramas. People were talking about this. It just got way out of control. How games used to work in this meta here was if you could kill the Undertaker, you would be even. If you didn't kill him, you would lose. It just went way out of control because the aggro decks had so many effective Death Rattle minions in terms of Web Spinner, in terms of Leper Gnome. You had Haunted Creepers, Mad Scientists would work into this combo. So you could easily make get a 3/4 by turn 2. Could have a 4/5 with just so much damage, so many. Execute was commonly used on Undertaker. People were using Shadow of Death even on Undertaker. Only for 1 mana, the power of this card. We saw this card in Priest. We saw this card in Mage. We saw this card in Warrior. Of course, I guess it goes without saying that it would be in Warlock and Hunter. But we saw it even in Paladin. We were seeing this card in every single deck almost. It seemed to be only Freeze Mages and maybe Rogue that was skipping it. But people putting it in Priest, for example, that's the strength this card had. And it completely defined the meta at the time. It was basically deal with Undertaker or lose. People will sometimes save him for a 3-card combo. But the thing is, it's only 1 mana. And getting something that early meant that aggro just became way overpowered. And if you weren't playing Undertaker in most of your decks, you were probably not going to do that well. Now I want to thank a few pro players that helped me out to make this video possible. Faramir, Ales, Green Sheep, Josiah and Cypher. If you guys agree with me, excellent. If you guys don't agree with me, please let me know in the comments what in your opinion is the strongest card we've ever seen. And are there more nerfs incoming? Are there more buffs incoming? Or will we see from the next expansion? Please let me know. If you guys enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. And be sure to follow Tempo Storm at Sea Story Cup and at Remark Winter these upcoming months. Thank you guys. Good night.